I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hello folks, this is Matt once again, and a lot of people have been wanting me to review this film for a while. Actually at one time someone actually offered me money to review these, and I don't know, I didn't take it because I just didn't feel right, you know, being offered money just to do a review. I just didn't do the reviews because I didn't own any of them, but Rob 1775 2006 sent me this DVD, and he asked me if I seen your DVD, would you like to review it? And I said if you really want me to, but he did. So here's the review for The Crow. Mirror Matt's Dimension Collector Series, thanks very much, man, for sending this. It's a 2-disc, has behind the scenes featurette, has a commentary track with the producer and writer, has a profile of James O'Barr, extended scenes, deleted scenes montage. Now The Crow, the thing is with The Crow, why I've never reviewed it, well, A, I didn't have the movies, but I have a problem with the films. I think you'll probably be seeing The Crow 2, 3, and 4. Even though I don't own them, I'm just going to download them or something because I don't own the movies. And I don't want to pay money for them. I just have a tough time with this movie because of this movie we don't have Brandon Lee. That's really what it is. Is it the movie's fault? No. But really, if Brandon Lee never made The Crow, then he would not have been on set. Then the asshole who had the dummy bullet in the gun would not have been on set, and Brandon Lee would not have been shot accidentally on set, and Brandon Lee would still be alive. So technically The Crow is a good film, but I wish this film did not exist. I wish this film had never been made because Brandon Lee would still be alive. So that's sort of the tough conundrum. Again, it's not the movie's fault, but at the same time, if this movie was never made, Brandon Lee would have been doing another movie. He would have been doing Mortal Kombat, playing Johnny Cage, which they wanted him to do. It would have been other stuff. I mean, I like Brandon Lee. Shonen Low Tokyo, Rapid Fire, and he seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like he had a great future ahead of him. You know, son of Bruce Lee, but he also had his own thing. And because of this movie, he's gone. So that always pissed me off, and I can never forgive the movie for that. And it's weird blaming the movie, but at the same time, I can't help it. That's what comes out of me. Every time I see the film, I haven't seen the film too much, but it just pisses me off. But anyway, I mean, the film's directed by Alex Proyas, the same guy who would go on to direct I, Robot. He would direct Knowing. He would direct Dark City. Films I enjoyed. It's based on a comic book by, I think, James O'Barr. You had 2 writers on this. You had John Shirley, who's on the commentary track. This is a guy who... he's written a lot of books, mainly. And, I'm not sure what exactly he's written. Cyberpunk sci-fi novels. The other writer was David Schow. The same guy who, I know he's written a lot of novels too. He was one of the writers they brought in for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I guess he had a hand in Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. Masters of Horror, Pick Me Up, and so on and so forth. And basically the story is you have Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee, who's a musician. Him and his girlfriend are murdered one night during Devil's Night, where a bunch of bad guys, they go around committing arson, and they fuck with Brandon Lee's woman because she sounded like a petition because they were being forced out of the building, and they raped her, brutalized her, and Brandon Lee stepped in and he was killed, shot, fell out the window a couple floors down. So then the film's about a year later, and the Crow brings Eric Draven back to life to seek revenge. And Brandon Lee did a wonderful job as Eric Draven. In the cast, you also have Ernie Hudson as a cop who was friends with his girlfriend as well as him. You have a little girl who's also friends with Brandon Lee and his girl, and also friends with Ernie Hudson, the cop. Sarah, played by Rochelle Davis. And the bad guys, you have the lead bad guy, Top Dollar, played by Michael Wincott. Very solid character actor. You've seen him in Metro. You've seen him in, he was in Alien Resurrection, A Long Team of Spider. He has a babe, played by Bylane. And then you have sort of the group of guys who actually committed the murder and rape. You have David Patrick Kelly as T-Bird. He's the guy in the Warriors, clinking the bottles. Come out and play, Warriors. You also have Angel David as Skink, Lawrence Mason as Tintin. He's the black guy who throws the knives. And Michael Massey as Fun Boy. And basically, Brandon Lee takes these guys out one by one. And, you know, the film itself, it is well done. I mean, Brandon Lee did a fantastic job. A lot of memorable lines like, "Victims, aren't we all?" as he kills Tintin. Or, "Is that gasoline I smell?" He has like a shotgun, and like he went into this place where he found out a year ago his engagement ring was stolen and sold here. He gets it back. He puts like a bunch of other rings, and this guy, played by John Polito, who owns the shop, Brandley's like throwing rings at him. It's like, "This represents a life that you've taken." He like puts a bunch of rings in a shotgun, walks out, he's like, "Is that gasoline I smell?" Turns around, shoots, blows the whole place up, and is really well done. Like, it really looks like a person was right there in front shooting, and as the place blows up. The way it was done or edited, very practical. And I like the dark cityscape. It is gritty, it is dark. It was done well before Batman Begins and all the other Chris Nolan Batman films, and to be honest, I think this is better than Nolan's Batman films. I really do. Yeah, the first guy he kills Tintin. Awesome scene where Brandon Lee's like, bad guy's trying to hit him with the knives, and he's blocking one and grabs it and hits it. Then you have the guy, Fun Boy. And you have that fun scene where Brandon Lee puts his hand over the guy's gun and it shoots a hole. And then you start finding out the Crow's powers that it gives him. For example, he's very agile, which his martial arts helped with that. He can heal. He can sort of see through the Crow's eyes. You also have good character moments, like the scene between him and Ernie Hudson in Ernie Hudson's apartment, where Eric feels Ernie Hudson's head and feels all the pain that his love of his life went through. I think it was like 30 hours she went through in pain before she died. But you have like a good character moment there. But with Fun Boy, just really wonderful dialogue. You guys can see the film and know for yourself. It's well shot. Looks like a comic book. Never read the comic book itself, but I've heard that's pretty faithful to it, especially the look of it. This has a fantastic soundtrack. I mean, the score by Graham Revell, I believe it, yeah, Graham Revell is very well done, but a lot of good songs in it. Like, you have that really hardcore song that plays beginning of the third act when he comes in and all those guys are shooting at him and he's taking all the bullets and he takes the guns and just shooting everybody left, right, and center with that down. You know, he's this guy, just really action-packed sequence. And mainly it's him killing the four guys who... He kills the three guys who kill him and his woman. Didn't know a bit about the bad guys like Michael Wincott, his woman Bylene, his subordinate played by Tony Todd, among other things. A little bit of Ernie Hudson, a little bit of the little girl, Sarah. I would say it kind of shoots his load, so to speak, when he kills Skank. He kills the last guy who killed him and his woman, and he has that action-packed finale. It kind of... There's like still 20 minutes left of the movie, and I don't know, that part was a little bit slow, but it was okay. Mainly Bylene, because she's such into mysticism or whatever, she just all of a sudden knows, yeah, the crow, it's the crow, you know. The crow is why he's come back. Like, she really picks that up very quickly. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then Eric Draven, he's not invincible anymore. They've kidnapped the little girl. Ernie Hudson helps him out. I like that the crow pets Bylene's eyes out. And then Eric Draven and Michael Wincott have a final showdown. And you have a nice ending where Eric Draven reunites with his lost love and everything's going to be okay. Sorry, I know it might not be much of a review, but this is a film that's kind of... It's well done, technically. The performances are great, the bad guys, great actors like Michael Wincott, Tony Todd, David Patrick Kelly. Brandon Lee does a fantastic job. He is the Crow. He's the only guy who could play the Crow. He did a good job with his role. The score, and especially the songs they used. This was a soundtrack I listened all the time growing up. It was one of my favorite soundtracks. Had on cassette tape and CD and stuff. It's very well shot. Again, good lines of dialogue that you guys already know, or you guys can see the film. It's definitely one of the better comic book movies. So it's... And every time I hear that last song, It Can't Rain All the Time, I always tear up from it. The few times I've seen it. Because again, it's a good film. It is a good film. It's just, this film just, I can't help it. If this film never existed, Brandon Lee would still be alive. I can't, it's like Twilight Zone the movie. It's kind of like that. You know, Twilight Zone the movie, that film wasn't made. Those kids in that, I mean, I know that seems unfair, and there are a lot of people, like stuntmen and people who pass away during making a film, and that's not fair to them either. But I don't know them. I do know that Brandon Lee, this was a guy who was... So much we could have seen from this guy. So much we could have seen. So many movies he could have done. Just seemed like a nice guy. Just really a big fan. Like, even, you know, Showdown Little Tokyo and Rapid Fire, I knew those films, and big fan of those movies, and it was just really sad. It's really tragic. It really sucks. And especially the subject matter of a person dying and then coming back to life. You know, the subject matter alone. It's kind of like, you know, some people want me to review Ghost. Well, that's kind of another thing too. You know, Patrick Swayze's gone, and it's hard to watch a film where he dies, comes back as a ghost, and at the end he goes to heaven. And it's like, that's pretty depressing, you know. It's depressing watching this movie because of Brandon Lee. That's why it's hard for me to watch this film. It really is. So, you know, I'm sorry this isn't the best review, but I mean, the film itself is not a bad film at all. I have no problems with the film itself. It's at the last 20 minutes, and I thought it sort of shot its load, so to speak, in that big action-packed gun battle sequence, but still, well done film. It's just, I wish it was never made. I wish this film was never made. So that Brandon Lee, he could have done Mortal Kombat. He could have done other films and still be alive today. Like, Brandon Lee, he would have been the Expendables. I know that. He would have been the Expendables 2. Probably would, maybe it would have been Jason Statham's part or something. I mean, it really is a shame. It really is. It really sucks. But, I mean, either way, it's a good film. It's just a really depressing film for me to watch. But either way, thanks for watching this little review. I do thank Rob 1775 2006 for sending me this. Maybe sometime today or tomorrow I will review the other Crow films, The Deer Mile of the Way. I'll just see if they're on YouTube or VHD or something, because I don't own them. I know I wasn't a fan of the sequels, so I can feel free to rant on those. But this one, it's a good film. It's just, it's hard to watch, and this film still pisses me off. Just, if this film was never made, he would still be alive. But that's just me, because there would not have been no dummy bullets or no asshole who didn't check the gun on set, and Brandley wouldn't have been accidentally shot, and so on and so forth. Yes, I know that's not fair to the movie, but it's just me being honest. But either way, thanks for watching, take care, and stay tuned for the review of the sequels later.